My hello, everybody. Once again, you could tell I have showered. This is the second live where I'm doing this, but yeah, this is actually a really weird coincidence. Why do I keep showering right before I'm doing these? Maybe to make myself clean from the filth I had to watch. Or maybe that's just a really reviewery thing to say, and you'll soon find out my opinion on this specific show. The show I am reviewing today, if you could not read from the title, is Solar Opposites, aka that other Justin Roiland show. I'm not going to talk about Justin Roiland himself because, first of all, if I was to ever even do that, I should probably wait till like season 4 because that's when like the character he voices stops being voiced by him. And second of all, I barely even know it, and I do not even care enough to go into it. So just if you want like me to talk about that kind of stuff, wrong video. Well, honestly though, I used to watch Solar Opposites all the time. This is not a Flintstones or Bob's Burgers, or I've ever seen none or a bit of the shows respectively and want to get more into them. While I have not seen all of Solar Opposites, I followed it for a while. Like I watched the first 3 seasons and watched like the first few of season 4, but back then, sorry, I'm doing something. But back then, I that was around the time I started to get pretty lazy with seeing shows. So sadly, after the first few episodes of season 4, I kind of just stopped watching it. But that was bad. That was a dumb decision on my part. So now I am here to rewatch the first 3 seasons and then see what I missed of seasons 4 and 5. I'll also review the specials the closest they were to the seasons because I don't really think they're special enough to actually get their own videos. They're like the same length. I don't got to worry about any of those specials though because I'm just doing the 8-episode first season of Solar Opposites. I'm very nostalgic for this show and this season and the first 3 seasons in general. So do they hold up? Well, before I get into that, I want to give you like a plot summary because, as you would obviously tell if you watch my videos in order, I do not use pictures or anything like that. This is meant to be like a guy just telling you about shows. But because of that, I need to do a better job at demonstrating what the plot of the show is. So before I talk about the episodes individually, I want to describe Solar Opposites just from watching season 1. And I guess also, again, I do obviously remember a bit of seasons 2 and 3, so maybe I'll use that too. Solar Opposites is about a family of aliens. We have the 2 adults, Terry and Corvo. Terry's the green guy, and Corvo is the blue guy. Sorry about that. As you can see that I am a very easily startled person. But they are 2 aliens who escaped from their planet Shorp with their replicants. How they got replicants despite both being dudes, I don't remember any of the episodes I've seen actually explain it, and I don't think we ever will get the explanation. They're replicants. Terry is a happy. To explain Terry and Corvo themselves a bit more, they are a classic straight man, funny man pair. Except only one of them isn't reduced to just being the funny one. Terry is more happy-go-lucky. He embraces Earth when they crash land on it. And he's just happy. He's dumb. He is the pupa specialist, which if you're figuring out what that means, don't worry, I'll tell you more about it later. He barely even does it though, and I'm pretty sure in the later seasons they even make it a running gag that he forgets that that's even his job. Corvo, on the other hand, his main goal in this season, at least for this season, is he tries to repair the ship, or in general, he hates Earth. He hates their cultures, and honestly, being from Earth, I'm not exactly hating. That was such a cringe way of saying that, but you know what? I do Terry and Corvo, I pretty sure you understand their bits. They're not the most. None of the characters in Solar Opposites are like the most complex characters ever. They're just clearly meant to be who they are just for the stories. And I think Terry and Corvo work as a main duo. Then we have the replicants. We have Corvo's replicant, Yumulak, and Terry's replicant, Jessie, who is the only girl. in one episode, they may have like a line about them being able to choose their genders. So I guess that's why Jessie's the only girl. As the replicants, they act kind of like who they are the replicant to, but they're still generally their own characters. Jessie is like Terry in that she embraces Earth, but instead of being dumb, she's more the nice one, which I know making the girl the nice or the normal one is very tired. In general, Jessie has always been my least favorite. I just don't find her the most that interesting. I find those types of characters like Jessie to often be the least good or least interesting part of the show, but she's still fine. And then you have Yumulak, Corvo's replicant, who he doesn't really care about repairing the ship, but he's more like Corvo. He's a jerk. You know, I mean, the replicants are kids essentially, so obviously they act like kids, and they even go to school, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Also, Yumulak loves his rays, and he even has a ray to shrink people, which I'll get into on that little note. All right. And hopefully that gives you a good demonstration of who at least the main characters are. Basically, their whole planet is destroyed. These 4 aliens go to Earth with their pet pupa, who is going to terraform the Earth. But he's mostly just acts as the pet who can very rarely talk. Terry is the pupa specialist, but as I stated earlier, it's barely even explained and he barely even does it. So we're really just watching these 5 aliens just on Earth. Okay, did I give you a good plot summary? I hope I did, but even if I didn't, then you're just going to have to hear me talk about 8 episodes just completely without any context then. Episode 1, The Matter Transfer Array. Uh-oh! Terry and Corvo fall in love with a TV show character named Fun Bucket and make him real. Meanwhile, the kids kidnap and shrink their bully. Okay, so we start off the show good. We start off with a good old-fashioned 4 out of 5. This was just a solid first episode. Given that it's the first episode, and I tried to show my brother the show a few times, this is the episode I have watched the most, and honestly, both plots, the main thing with Solar Opposites is that it basically is just sitcom parody. Like, at least at first, that's what they're clearly trying to be. Like, hey, what if we make a generic family sitcom, but with aliens? And that's what both of these plots are. Terry and Corvo, they make Fun Bucket real. They make this TV show character named Fun Bucket real, but slowly realize the consequence of their actions. Meanwhile, again, Yumulak shrinks a kid. Jesse and Yumulak have their back and forth. Terry and Corvo have their back and forth. We get introduced to the main 2 duos. One problem I have with season 1 that I honestly wish was fixed later on was is that they don't really it's always just Terry and Corvo and then Yumulak and Jesse. They very rarely interact with one another. There is more in this they did talk to each other more times in this season than I remembered, but still, you don't get what about a Terry and Jesse story or a Corvo and Jesse story? Like, that'd be nice. Still, for what is at least this episode does its job of setting up the 2 plots very well, given that Terry and Corvo always take the A plot, while the kids usually get B plot material. It's a good episode. It's funny. In terms of favorite moments, we have Fun Bucket show in general from what we've seen. Fun Bucket killed people, though. They try to make it sound like it's a kid show, but nah, that dude, he murdered people. You also like when Corvo was first introduced to the show, asking if Fun Bucket could reproduce. Like, why would he want to know about that? And then once they make Fun Bucket real, he asks them if they want to have their way with him. In general, it is good. Good episode. Episode 2, The Unstable Gray Hole. Yikes! Terry and Corvo put nanobots into the water to see if the people like them. Meanwhile, Jesse puts a device in humans to make Yumulak like them. Also, the pupa has an adventure outside. Yeah, most episodes of the show have either 2 or 3 plot lines going on. The pupa plots. The pupa gets like 3 episodes where he has like the sea story. And I'm gonna consistently barely talk about them because they're typically just kind of filler and not really worth bringing up. I just wrote them in the plot descriptions so that way people, if any Solar Opposites fans, watch this video, which I really hope they do because part of this channel is me wanting to talk to people about the shows that I've seen. I'm curious to see if they have any question, so that way they won't be like, "Hey, why aren't you neglecting the pupa?" It's not that they're bad; it's just that they honestly just felt kind of fillery. Like the pupa is just he doesn't really talk; he's just kind of mute, which could work as like fun little mute stories, but they often kind of just feel like they're just there. Let's just say there's another reoccurring C plot that's established next episode, and it feels like they only made these pupa stories because when they weren't focusing on that, they realized they wanted something else to fill some runtime, so just thought, hey, let's just make the pupa do some stuff. Anyway, as for the actual real parts of the episode, it's just about as good as episode 1. I think it's a bit weaker than episode 1 because I simply just like the plots less, and I think it's a bit less funny, but I still enjoy this episode. I think it really starts to pick up once Terry and Corvo become popular in the neighborhood. That's when we start getting some funny moments. Like the Okay, dang, I did not. I actually barely wrote any funny favorite moments for this episode. Yeah, trust. I guess it's less specific moments and more just I like the general story. Again, these videos are not scripted. I feel like I need to remind you that. Jesse's whole plot in this episode about her making humans nicer to make Yumulak like them. That part was also just pretty mid. I didn't really like that stuff either. It just wasn't really that funny. I honestly have nothing to say about it other than I didn't like it. In general, this episode's still good. It's still a 4. 4 is a good rating. I'd still say I enjoyed it less than last episode, though it is very close. I remember being very like, is this one better? Is this one better? Episode 3, The Quantum Ring. Ta-da! Corvo becomes a popular magician. Meanwhile, we see inside the wall. So here it is. Well, it was like a first shown at the end of episode 1, and episode 2 gave us a bit of a sneak peek about it. We now properly get into the wall, and I will consistently not talk about this stuff either. The wall, the part of the show that most people don't know about Solar Opposites, but the few people that do, they always talk about the wall. They're always like, oh, it's the best part. Which always kind of angered me back when I was super into the show because I was like, I mostly watched it for the alien stuff. The wall stuff I remember liking that stuff too, but I also kind of really liked the alien stuff. So it always annoyed me that, people kind of neglected the alien stuff, you know? Also, again, just so that way, I'm not talking about the wall stuff, not because I don't enjoy it, but because I simply don't want to spoil you guys. I apologize for that. I'm moving around a lot, as you can see. But yeah, it's just that I enjoyed the wall stuff. I just don't want to spoil you people on it because I want you to go out of your way to watch this show. Well, if you are able to. Well, so because of that, I'm not going to be talking about it. Instead, I will talk about the other part of this episode, which is the other plot, which is Corvo being a magician, which was all right. I'm gonna be real. I mostly like this episode because of the wall stuff. The Corvo magician plot was pretty forgettable, pretty nothing special. It's nice to see the replicants kind of be joined in an adventure with the adults for once, but they still barely talk, and it still isn't like the best. I don't know. This is easily the weakest episode so far, and may just be the weakest episode of season 1. Episode 4, The Booster Manifold. Egad! Terry makes Corvo so stressed he makes a red goobler, so they gotta kill it so it don't do that to them. That's actually what I wrote in the Google Doc. Meanwhile, the kids get flowers on their heads. Also, the pupa saves animals. Like I already mentioned, I'm not going to talk about the pupa stuff, but this is the first really good episode. I enjoyed the first 3 episodes. Episode 3 kind of barely, if I'm being honest, but this is actually a really good one. I guess I didn't talk about this earlier, but gooblers, when the aliens are stressed, they make little gooblers, little purple things that come out of their heads. They're super dumb, but they are technically alive. But again, in this episode, Terry makes Corvo so stressed that he makes a red goobler. Honestly, that goobler stuff was probably the highlight of the episode. I thought it was really fun. Seeing Corvo especially just be so freaked out, especially when they just wanted to get the jet ski, but they got so distracted by the red goobler, or at least Corvo was. That whole scene in general of them trying to talk to the guy who's selling them the jet ski, but Corvo gets so freaked out. It's fun. I found that stuff fun. Really sad that the dude had to die at the end. You also have the flower plot, which is the weaker of the two main plots of the episode, but it's still good. It's fun to see. I did like the parts where Yumulak almost died, and Yumulak's because Jesse helped save him. He's all "Thanks for saving my life," but then he still tries to tattle. I like that. Towards the end, once Terry and Corvo think they capture the red goobler, seeing them one of their flower heads end up pollinating and spreading all across the party, and seeing all the kids get demonified. That's not a real word, but go with that. It's fun to see them have to use these weapons that heals them. It's just a cool concept, and in general, this is a really good episode. Easily the best episode of the show so far. We are midway through, so I get my midway drink. I know no one's watching this video, but please tell me more. Please comment anything. Even if what you have to comment is really mean and hurtful. I want it. I want your mean, hurtful comments. I need comments. Episode 5. The Lavitic reactor. Yakety yak. Terry and Corvo go to college, but Terry makes Corvo a total idiot. Meanwhile, the kids go to school not knowing it's summer. Oh yeah, and the wall is here. Once again, ignoring the wall stuff. The only part about the wall that I'll say here is that there's this really funny moment, might even be the funniest part of the whole episode, honestly, where this guy is sacrificing himself, although he had no reason to. Bro, just, you don't need to be a hero. Well, that part was really funny. I'm not going to spoil the rest, though. Even besides that, this is a 5 out of 5. This is the first truly great episode. If the Booster Manifold was the first really good one, this is when the show really gets soaring. Because this is the first time I, the wall stuff I'm not bringing up, but the rest of the episode, I loved that. Terry and Corvo going to college, it's Terry and Corvo's characters at their best. Terry just being super dumb. And Corvo at first actually being, really trying to use college to study, especially since him and Terry both said they loved college, but it's made very clear, even from early on, that they both loved it for totally different reasons. But seeing them, in their interactions with it's fun. Then, as for the replicant stuff, I think this is the first time I think I may have preferred their plot over, what Terry and Corvo were doing, because this is the part where, where it's summer, but they don't know it's summer, and the teacher and principal just told them, hey, if you're late one more time, or not there, you're expelled. Admittedly, one super big plot hole is that you think they would bring up, we mean it next year because it's summer. You think they would bring that up, but whatever. That won't let that nitpick it aside from the fact I still love this story. I think it's really funny. Has a lot of good jokes in it. And I also like Yumulak constantly bringing up the 2016 hit film Suicide Squad. And them just trying to be each other's teacher, Yumulak being throw away the book. Actually, no, get that back from the trash. We're actually going to rely very heavily on the text. Now go throw it away. And then you have Jesse telling Gimulak that like pretty much every like a subject could be like a rap. That's fun. Fun episode. Great episode. I loved it. You also have Corvo's swish. And Tyrion's like, that's so cool. Like that way he said it. This is good. This is a great episode. I love it. Episode 6, the Patricia device. Or if you want me to be annoying, the PATRICIA device. G-Day. Tyrion and Corvo build a man cave and make a robot wife to hate it. Meanwhile, Jesse tries to make a first for women. There's also no C plot here, so I don't even have to bring any of that up. I like this episode, but it's a 4 out of 5, but it definitely is a bit of a downgrade compared to the past 2 episodes, at least in my opinion. One thing I'll say, it's mostly the man cave stuff built, like, really, like, that makes it good. I liked the robot wife, and I liked Tyrion and Corvo. The best part was seeing Tyrion and Corvo's different reactions to her. Tyrion kind of treating her like a mob, while Corvo actually likes being put down by her, and like her emasculating him. It's funny without getting into creepy levels. That being said, though, this is mostly the gender episode. You know, the episode where they kind of have to point out that, hey, Jesse's the girl. I guess we got to do like a girl episode. I genuinely, there are a few like reoccurring plot tropes in shows that I